Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Brandon along with Tony Coyne. It's Norristown High football once again tonight. The Eagles take on the Tigers of Harry S. Truman High School. Norristown entering this ball game 2-2 record. They lost their first league outing against Pennsbury last week, 15-14. The Tigers of Truman also coming off a loss last week in their first league opener. And tonight, Tony, Norristown's going to kick the ball off here. Andy Town doing the kicking chores for Norristown. Let's take a look as Andy's going to boot the ball downfield.
All right,
Andy,
here we go, Jeff.
Short kick. Taken by one of the upbacks to the 29-yard line, but a short recovery. Gene Hill in on the coverage, number 46 for Norristown.
And he's up to about the 32, Jeff, and we have a beautiful evening here tonight. It's one of those classic, crisp fall Pennsylvania evenings.
You really couldn't ask for a more beautiful night for football. It's probably about the mid-60s right now, although not a very big crowd right here. I suppose it has to do with the fact that we're playing Harry Truman, and not too many folks are familiar with the name or the school. Not exactly an old rivalry for Norristown, just
right.
Most recently since we've gone to that division in the leagues.
Now,
first play for Truman. They go off the right side.
about 4 yards. And who is that?
And a Conway on the run, it looks like. Number 46, Larry Conway, who incidentally is not in our program tonight, but got that from Bill Werkheiser over there doing the public address work tonight. Of course, Bill helps us out on basketball.
Yes, which will be starting fairly soon. And Jeff, if we can get a little bit of time, we'll begin to go over the starting lineups in a second. But here we come for the second play for the Tigers.
Second down and 7. They go to Conway again.
He's trying to sweep around that right end, and he looks like he's for about a 4-yard loss.
That was Gene Hill that time. Fantastic pursuit that time by Gene. Hill's been playing a fantastic football this year. We've seen him make a lot of plays come up from his strong safety position, his corner position rather, to make some tackles in the backfield. Gene does it once again. Now we're going to have a third down, about 9 yards to go.
This is always an interesting situation for a quarterback to be in, because 3rd and 9, especially in the field position, people realize you're probably going to throw the ball. So you have that defensive secondary gets back just a little bit more, and you can see him back a couple of yards more. No, as he goes right up the middle.
They hit it to Conway at the same time. Three plays to the same back.
3 plays in a row.
They looked like the initial surprise worked. The defensive line in Norristown wasn't there right away, but the linebacking court stopped them after a gain of about 7 yards on the play.
Right.
So we're going to have a punt from Harry Truman.
And as you can see, as I kind of come up with that idea of what they're going to do on 3rd and 9, obviously they surprise us. And here,
well, it always happens. Of course, you a former quarterback for Northeast
right.
High School and in Philadelphia. I'm sure you have all those quarterback tendencies down pat.
It's kind of a high snap. And
Fine
it's a
kick.
Good punt. Good hang time. It's received down on the Norristown 20 by
Bob Carson.
Bob Carson, and he's up to about the 32-yard line.
Not a bad run back.
The Norristown Eagles will take it over here. And in this first series of plays, Jeff, what would you expect to see Norristown come out with?
Well, Tony, that's a real good question. It's a very diverse attack. I never know whether Roger Grove's going to go to the air. He's going to go with the bootleg for Frank Cassano, or he's got a real good back in Jacques Rochette who can bull up the middle. So Roger's got a lot of alternatives. I'm going to look for Jacques Rochette on the first play.
All right.
I'm going to say Roger's going to play a conservative on the first set of downs. We'll see.
And just get everybody kind of used to the game.
And they go to Van James. Okay, off right side.
Gets about 2 right off of that right tackle.
That was nice pursuit that time by Truman. Of course, in last week's defeat, the big problem against Pennsbury was Frank Cassano had no time to throw the ball. Pennsbury defense was all over him. Norristown led that ball game at the half, 14-3, I believe it was. And Pennsbury came back, and Norristown failed to get any points on the board in the second half, and they took a loss in their first league contest. And this year, the Suburban 1 League National Division is up for grabs. All these teams are fairly matched. There's no one who's the class of the league and no one who's a real dog either. They pitched to the left this time to Van James.
Right.
Cuts
and
back.
He's really hit back there.
He was drilled that time. There's going to be no gain on the play, and Norristown's going to face a 3rd and long situation.
Yeah, that's the kind of hit where you come back and you begin counting your back teeth and attempting to make sure that everything is still there.
And of course, starting a quarterback tonight for Norristown, number 5, Frank Cassano, is fullback, number 35, Jacques Rochette. Halfback, number 40, Van James. Center, number 50, Joe Glisson. Mike Palladino, number 60 on the line, along with Bill Angelucci, number 78. Brian Murphy, number 86 at tight end. And number 58, Vance Fisher, also on the line, along with Terry Kennedy, number 74.
And he's dropping back to throw this time. Let's see what kind of protection he gets. It's up, and it looks like he's thrown it out.
Well overthrown to Billy Evans, number 11. That time in there on the coverage for the Tigers was number 10, Bob Green.
Yeah. any play like that, obviously, it's a whole lot better to overthrow than to drop that sort of pass short, because you can see what would happen on any kind of down and out motion. If in fact he does throw it short, there's nothing but grass
it's
to knock.
Touchdown.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Touchdown the wrong way.
And here we go in last down, and Norristown is back to punt.
And Frank Cassano, of course, does the punting chores for the Eagles this year, and a fine punter. Frank gets off a nice boot this time.
Once
and
again,
Brian Murphy down on the coverage.
Oh, and we have, who's that down there?
That's
86.
Brian Murphy. And Murphy, of course, the ball bounced into him. Brian wasn't looking at the ball, was looking for the coverage, and he downs the ball automatically by his head touching it.
And that's kind of an example of one of the reasons that coaches stress good hang time, because you can see what happens. We had an interior lineman who was down there to meet the ball and obviously to greet whoever would be down there to catch it from the opposing team.
Now, Brian Murphy's a big fella and a fine ball player. Now, of course, Norristown undefeated here at Roosevelt Field this year. We've seen two wins. The first over Bishop Kenrick, and then against Archbishop Carroll here at Roosevelt. This is the first league contest here at the Roosevelt Field. And Conway's broken free.
Conway's gone.
Gene Hill, the only one there.
He's down to the 40. He's down to the 30. He's down to about the 25-yard line of Norristown.
And Andy Town, number 2, was the only thing that stood between Conway and a touchdown for the Tigers. Andy Town and Gene Hill managed to force him out of bounds, but I don't know what happened. There was a big breakdown on the right side of that Norristown line.
It looked like about a 40-yard run, 35-yard run, right off of that right tackle.
As I say, as I understand it, the problem last week for Norristown, was their line work. I don't know whether the defensive line was lax at all, but I think that's been the area of problem this year. We'd spoken to Coach Jack Griffiths, and he seemed to think that his guys, had finally mastered the problems with their blocking system, but perhaps that's not the case.
All right. Well, now so the Tigers coming up on their 1st and 10 on the Eagles' 29.
And I think they heard me that time. Their nice time on the pressure that time by Norristown.
Right.
See if we can't give you some of the players in there for the Eagles. Number 99, Greg Reinhardt. Number 78, Bill Angelucci. Number 1, Luther Harling. Number 46, Gene Hill. Number 8, Brooke Bugg. Number 86, Brian Murphy. Number 54, Mike Taylor. And along with number 2, Andy Town. Number 8, Brooke Bugg. And number 77, Theron Ellis. This time they go off the left side to Conway. Conway stacked up after a gain of perhaps a yard. And now after they get that great run off the right side, twice they go off the left side for minimal gain, if anything. And it's 3rd down and 9. I understand that, Tony.
Well, and once again, he's going to be faced with an interesting situation. We're looking at 3rd and 9. And he is fairly deep in the Eagles' territory. He's on the 29-yard line. Now, what do you do?
The question is, do you try and get that first down in 2 downs? Since you're so deep, you're not going to punt Norristown territory.
Exactly.
I figure he's got to go for it on 4th down. He's got nothing to lose. We're here in the first quarter, nothing to nothing ball game.
Exactly what I think. Now he's once again, he went off that right tackle position again, and that's.
This time he went to number 26, Jeff Jones, in the Norristown defense. I think that defensive line didn't like me. They had their ears ringing when I said something about a lax defensive line, and they're playing fine on this series. So now it's going to be 4th down and about 6 to go. It looks like. From the 26-yard line of the Eagles.
All right, now once again, obviously they're probably not going to come out and punt. I'd be very surprised if
Yes,
they did.
I would be extremely surprised. And we've got a timeout. Yep, and they want to talk it over down on the field.
All right,
now,
this is a good point to call, a good time and place on the field to call a timeout. There's that initial adrenaline rush when you get that 40-yard gain coming down. And now they've had 3 plays where they really have not done very much.
Yeah.
So the quarterback, I think, very sharply has called a timeout. He's probably going to go over, and they're right now beginning to decide what's going to work. What have they used before that's worked in this situation? What do they feel comfortable with? And what do the coaches who are looking on think is going to work?
Well, if you're the head coach at Truman, you don't want to have this bubble burst. Like you said, your boys got that 40-yard run. You're downfield. You're in enemy territory. You want to capitalize it, especially in the beginning of the ball game. Get the early advantage, and then you're in the position of power for the rest of the ball game.
Exactly.
So this is definitely a very important play, even though we're only just into this ball game with the 9:59 remaining here in the first quarter.
And here they come. Let's see exactly what happens here.
Now, they're using a multiple offensive set, so it's going to be very difficult for us to tell you who's taking control of the ball. But in there right now is number 27.
And we have a pitch going around the left. It almost looks like he's carrying that ball awfully high. All right. I halfway thought it was going to be a pitch back to the halfback and he was going to throw.
Yeah, that time Conway tried to go around the left side, but the Norristown defense played nice aggressive ball on it.
So you've seen that Norristown defensive line really tighten up. They've had their backs kind of to the wall. And what we saw then was after that 40-yard or 48-yard run.
Yeah, I think that just might have been a momentary lapse.
It's
concentration
possible
on somebody's part.
I guess anything could have happened. Someone might have attempting to been doing the wrong assignment. Anything could have happened. All right, let's see. Norristown's taking over, and they're going to try and get out of this hole that they're in right now.
Frank Asano hands up the middle to Jacques Richette.
And I think we have a
ball. I think he's got it back.
He probably went back on.
Yep, Jacques retains possession, so it'll be, I think he might even have picked up a yard or two on the play. But Richette that time was met at the line of scrimmage and lost the ball momentarily, but luckily enough, the ball didn't go anywhere. He was able to fall right down on top of it.
Yeah. Richette is that also kind of a shorter, stocky ball player, low center of gravity. Very tough guy to knock down.
Of course, your friend and mine, Alan Raleigh, who is not with us this evening, which precipitated your return to the broadcasting booth, and an auspicious return, I might add. Alan has characterized Richette as a bowling ball type runner. You know, no derogatory sense. He's just really tough to stop. There's that
bootleg.
And we
have that bootleg, right? Now, here he. All right, it looks like he made it back to the line of scrimmage.
Now that time they bootlegged to the short side, and there was nowhere for Frank Asano to go. Obviously, Truman's been watching their films. They know that Frank is a very dangerous runner as well as a fine passer. He tried to take that solitary bootleg, that lone bootleg to the right side, and there was no place for him to go. In fact, a loss on the play. Third down and 10. Now Rogers got to go to the air. I think if they fail to get the first down here, you're going to see Norristown passing on first down next time.
I would tend to agree with you. I think what's going to happen, I think they're going to try and throw it whenever they can. And no, he's right up the middle. And it looks like he's coming. Oh, he's about
close. I think
he might be a little bit short. I don't know.
That was Van James, of course, up the middle. Nice trap play.
Yeah, this looks like we're going to probably bring the chains out to measure this.
Now,
and obviously that's a referee's timeout when we bring the chains out.
That last play, we had a linebacker blitz. I think that might have freed up the running zone. They were definitely looking for the pass that time, and it committed some of the coverage up the middle, which I think is just what Roger Grove was counting on. And Norristown gets the first down.
All right.
Wait a minute. Yep, first down. Okay, I didn't see the marker change yet, but I know the ball was beyond the first down marker. So the Eagles get a break there. Nice play selection after we're talking about them definitely going to the air, right?
Exactly. Goes to show, I assume Coach Grove and the people that he has looking on decided that was really the best way to go. And here they come out.
And we're under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Right, they're grinding out a little bit of that yardage now.
This time they go to James off the right side, breaks a tackle, tries to get around the corner.
And he's out of bounds.
A gain of about 2 on the play.
Hey, I'll tell you what. 44 went right on the play. Linebacker this side.
And Cassano this time rolls out on first down, passes to Bob Carson. Oh, just out of Carson's reach.
Right.
But he did pass on first time. I speak a lot. Did pass on first down, Tony.
Yes. And that also serves, obviously, to loosen people up for the run, because if you get people thinking that you can throw and that you will dangerously throw on any down, they have to really play you honestly. They can't look for the run first.
I think that's what I like about Norristown's offense this year. It's not predicated on Wayne Denson running right, running left again.
Carmen Bellows.
They've got a very versatile offense. If they can get things rolling this year, they could be a very dangerous ball club.
Second down, and he's back to throw again. And it's way up in the air.
Billy
Looks
Evans,
like he's
out of bounds.
Okay.
Little shove, but nothing caught. He was already out of bounds once the contact was made. So it's going to be third and 8 they have on the scoreboard. It's got to be 3rd and 10 though. And how can it be 3rd and 8? If we had 2 incomplete passes. Oh, it's 4th and 8. That's I'm paying a lot of attention.
We did have that one run around the right end.
That's right, Van James. That was first down. I apologize for my my lack of attention.
All right, and obviously the Eagles are now back to punt in this situation.
And back deep
he's punting from his own 26-yard line.
Back deep we have number 10, Green.
All right, not much of a rush.
Shanked it.
Yes, very high, and it's out of bounds on about the 50. I guess
That
right
was a
about 50-yard line.
Net yardage about 10 on that punt.
Yes.
10-yard punt for Francesano, and that's not good news for the Eagles. Truman gets a break.
Yeah. And it was interesting because there was not much of a pass rush going on at that point in time. He really had enough time to set it up and think about it. The center was right where it should be. And it's just one of those things. Actually, sometimes I guess that's the worst situation to be in when you're not rushed. And here come the Tigers out.
Okay, the handoff goes to Conway up the middle, and he's got good yardage. Pick up about 6 on the play.
Who's the left linebacker? All right, they're left on the other side. Okay, he came all the way on this side, and he got blocked to the side. He took himself right out of the play. Then he got blocked. Was it a counter?
Joe Lader, number 27, sets up for the Tigers behind the center. And this time they go for the first back through.
And
Jeff
the ball
Jones
is up in the air, and it looks like a Norristown recovery.
I think so.
Let's see exactly who comes up with it.
Andy Town jumped on it for Norristown.
All right, and the Norristown bench is jumping up and down. All right, so we're going to have almost the same situation now. This is going to be a 1st and 10 from about the 30, right on the 35-yard line.
Well, Norristown, after giving Truman a big break with that poor punt, comes right back and generates a turnover.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that Norristown, the first game we saw against Bishop Kenrick, my goodness, Brooke Bugg had 3 interceptions on his own, and that's how the Eagles won that ball game, by generating offense off the turnovers. And they had a lot of missed opportunities in that ball game, but things kept coming back to them. I think the teams that beat Norristown are the ones who capitalize on Norristown's mistakes and don't allow Norristown.
Right, and here we have
right beyond Andy Town
into his hands.
And Andy Town has impressed a lot of scouts this year, Division I scouts. He was up at a football camp this summer at Penn State. Ran a legitimate 4.460, I think it was. 4.440 rather.
4.440.
4.460 would be pretty damn impressive,
yes,
wouldn't it? 4.440.
But that's still awfully impressive. And in order to give him the benefit of the doubt, he did have it coming over his shoulder, and there are lights. We are playing, obviously, it's a night game, and it's a little bit tough when you're used to catching in the sunlight to looking up at quartz lights.
And I think that ball was tipped also just before it got to Andy's
now he's
hands.
back to throw again. Oh, it looks like a... All right.
Richette.
I'm not sure whether that was a screen that was meant to be set up or whether we just had a broken play.
Well, I think Richette was going out to the left side, just tripped as he was trying to make his cut. But of course, Cassano with the timing pattern just let the ball fly, and Jacques was down on the ground by the time the ball reached him. That time, Andrew Lewis, number 20, put on some nice pressure on Frank Cassano.
All right, let's see exactly what we're coming at now. Once again.
Now watch Billy.
Okay, I think Frank's going to pass again this time.
He's going to come back and he's going to throw. There we go. Right down the middle, and we have, looks like
he's got it. Billy Evans has got it. Took it right out of the hands of the defenders that time.
And that goes from 30-yard line to 30-yard line, and it sets up a drastically different situation for the Norristown Eagles.
And I'll tell you, that time, number 17, Jim McCullen for the Tigers, thought he had a beat on that ball.
Yeah.
The ball was underthrown by Cassano. Evans, of course, is really a speedster, faster than Andy Town even out there. And Frank underthrew it a little bit, and Billy Evans just came back and ripped it right out of his hands for a big play for Norristown.
Yeah, and it was one of those situations where we had 4 hands on the ball at about the same time, and just the better man happens to have won at this instance.
All right, so Norristown takes over 1st and 10 from the 30 of Truman with 1:45 remaining here in the first quarter.
All right. And now, once again, a slightly different situation with Norristown on the Tigers 30.
They go to Van James.
And he stopped
nothing.
right at about the line of scrimmage.
I think there might even be a loss of a yard on the play. That time, nice penetration into the backfield. And Van James is a good running back, but nothing on the line of a Wayne Denson where he really has that outside speed. If Norristown could get a pitch play where they could turn somebody around that corner, they'd have an unbelievable offensive threat. They've got Richette the bull up the middle, which, he's reminiscent of Carmen Bello of the last couple of years. Frank Cassano, who's a good mobile quarterback, runs the ball well himself in addition to being a good passer, but they just don't have that outside run threat. And I think the opposing teams know that. 2nd down and 12.
And he's back to throw again, right over the center. That's a
nice play by Andy Town.
And he's going down to the 5 to the... Oh, I'm not sure if he had
got
possession.
It. He got it.
I don't-
Oh my! I
That's
don't believe
one of
that.
those crazy situations, Jeff. Andy Town had it, and he obviously had possession of it and was still in bounds when he got hit. And the ball
That's
just
incredible.
popped out into the hands of him. We're trying to find out right now. That was Derek Williams.
Number 40.
Number 40, Derek Williams, deep safety for the Tigers, who just happened to be in what we call the right place at the right time.
That was unbelievable. Andy Town, they took the quick pass from Frank Cassano. Andy got his hands on the ball, reversed his direction immediately, fooled one defender, was racing for the post down on the far side, and he just got thrown around, whipped around as he was being pushed out of bounds, and before he fell out of bounds, the ball was thrown loose to Williams.
All right, and is
Conway.
this Conway around the right ending, and he's still up on
going.
his feet. He
They
looks
finally
like he
forced him out
got
of bounds.
close to the first anyway.
And Norristown, of course, had them backed all the way up to the 5-yard line. This has been a wild and woolly first quarter, though.
This really,
a
it's
lot
been
of turnovers.
coast-to-coast situations. We had that first run where Conway put about 40 yards on the board. Then we had the fumble that Norristown picked up back there. Now we've just had Norristown giving the ball away. And obviously that's a kind of situation that drives coaches to distraction.
It's unbelievable. They'd much rather have a game, no penalties, no turnovers. Let's just play the ball game instead of all these incidentals, which you can't coach. You can't coach turnovers.
Right. There's nothing you can do against them except bang your fist into your hand.
That's right. And we've got a timeout on the field.
All right. And right now, I didn't catch last. It looks like he did not make the first. It looks like that was about a 9-yard carry, if I can see the
They're going to call it second down in inches, it looks
second.
like. With,
All right.
with
Actually, this
38
is a much
seconds.
better situation. It's a very good time to, well, I was
Pass
going
the
to say
ball.
to throw. And
Yeah.
what happens is, I have a feeling the coach said, look, we have a penalty flag. And that was kind of late. That might be a personal
Might be a piling on bug against Norristown.
against
That's our
Norristown.
first flag
it's
of
a
the
little
night.
too energetic. Generally, when you get a late flag, it's not an offsides or something like that. It looks like, and if we can make out
Personal foul.
against Norristown.
That's going to be 15 big yards. And Truman, it was 30 seconds ago, was backed up to their own 5-yard line. Now they're going to be in fine field position.
right.
Let's move it all the way up to, about the 38-yard line, I suppose. See where they spot
Right.
the ball.
Looks like it's going to be right on about the 37, 38-yard
37.
line.
Well, that's a big play for Truman, and it
Yeah.
certainly hasn't been a boring ball game. It's been a flip-flop ball game.
It's that kind of, that's that situation where the defensive linemen are a little too energetic, there's a little bit too much adrenaline flowing, and they just happen to make that basic mistake. But you can't do that in this game.
Later,
and it
this
looks
time
like
goes to Jones, I think, up the middle.
Right.
Gain of about 1 on the play, maybe 2. We'll make it second down and 8, and we're just about out of time here in the first quarter.
All right. So although the score is zip, it really has been an interesting game to watch.
Exactly. Has not been a boring ball game by any standard.
All right. And as they come out, I think we're getting a whistle on the play, and I guess that's the end of the first quarter.
That's right. We'll change sides and come back again. Truman with the ball. They'll be moving from their own 39-yard line, just about their own 40-yard line. Of course, I'm Jeff Brandon here with Tony Koya. We'd like to thank our cameramen tonight, Kyle Vereen and David Findlatter. And, of course, our spotter.
Right, our spotter, and we're going to have one spotter in the first half, Denise McCoskey, and one spotter in the second half, Suzanne McCoskey.